out doing a full first impression, swatches, and review on the new Sephora collection and Lilly Lashes face palette. This was just released a few days ago and I immediately fell in love with the packaging, the colors. So if you want to see my full review, swatches, first impression, all of that good stuff, then just keep on watching. So it is a limited edition palette between Lilly Lashes and Sephora collection, and it is called the Goal Digger face palette, which I love. And this retails on the Canadian Sephora site for $45, which I think is pretty standard for a face palette. You'd think it might be a little bit cheaper because Sephora collection is a little bit more of an inexpensive brand at Sephora. You get 6 full-size face products, so I think $45 is a pretty good deal. And so far there's only one review and that person gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And then the front, which is really what got me, is so cute. It has little embossed money signs and then it says, "What's your favorite position? CEO," with the $1 million money symbol. So I just think that's so cute. Oh, there you can see the money signs. I think it's such cute packaging. It's a really good value for what it is, I think, at least. If the products perform well, we will see. But I just thought the packaging in general was so freaking cute. And I love that the palette comes with a full mirror. This is a really nice palette for travel. Comes with a full mirror, has all you would need for face complexion, so I love that. You have your 2 bronzers, contour, 2 blush shades, and then 2 highlighters. So initially I was actually most attracted to the blush shades in here. I think they're super gorgeous. The peachy one is coming off a little more orange on camera, but it is very peach. This is a super nice cool toned pink, which I love. Love the tones of the bronzer, the look of them. The 2 highlighters, I wish there was more of a champagne, like a true light moonstone type champagne, but there is a deeper gold and then a more pinky highlight, which I'm not really a fan of. So the thing I'm least excited for in this palette would be the highlighters. I'm probably most excited for the blushes, and then I'm like generally excited for the bronzers. So these are the 2 bronzer shades. Obviously we have the darker bronze on the left, then we have the lighter bronze on the right, which is more warm. Next to those bronzer shades we have the corally blush and the more pink cool toned blush, and both of those are matte and the bronzers are both matte as well. And then beside the blushes we have the 2 highlighters. On the far right, more pink highlighter, then on the far right we have the more golden toned highlighter. So if you watch my videos a lot, you would know that I like to go in with contour, bronze, then my highlight, and then my blush to blend everything together, and I like to bake my contour. So we're going to be doing all of those things today using the products as I normally would so that I can get a good feel for how they measure up to my other products. For the bronzer contour, I'm going to start out with the lighter of the 2. I feel like that's the safest because I'm so fair, and this one does look a little more cool toned, so I'm going to use this more to contour, and then I'll use the darker one sparingly to bronze. I'm dipping this in pretty generously, tapping it off, then going to go along the cheek area super softly. That looks really, really nice. I really like the tone of that. Doesn't look too orange, doesn't look too cool toned. I'm not a fan of a super cool toned contour or anything on me. It makes me look really awful, to be honest, really dead, and just, it's not a good look for me. So that is what it looks like so far on one side of my face, bronzed, and the other not. I think that looks really awesome. Definitely on camera it looks really nice, and in person as well. I don't see any shimmer or sheen in that. It appears to be a matte bronzer from what I can tell, and I really like that. Okay, going to go and do the exact same thing on this side. Okay, so I'm actually a little bit shocked at how much I like that bronzer on me. I've looked in my mirror and on the camera, and the tone just seems so nice for my skin tone. Very similar tone to Benefit Hoola in my opinion, but maybe a touch deeper. I really like it. I think it looks really nice. Bronzer just makes the biggest difference. I looked so pale and gross before, and now I just look sculpted and healthy. Love a good bronzer. I want to try this deeper one, but I'm scared to mess it up, so I am going to go in with just the tiniest amount And I'm just gonna take it in here on my cheeks. I'm not going to put it anywhere near my forehead because I'm too scared and I'm so pale, and hopefully I don't mess this up. That's pretty dark. I think that's a little too dark for me. I need to make it even on the other side. I think that shade's just a touch too dark for me and my super pale complexion, but I'm a big fan of that other one, so that's good. So far, so good with that. Now I'm going to go in with my Coty Airspun powder, and I'm going to bake that area to make it a little more chiseled. For the highlight, I'm going to mix the two right off the bat just because I feel like the pink on its own is too pink and I feel like the golden tone on its own is too deep for me. So I'm going to go in very lightly with both, just mixing them right on my fan brush, right on my cheekbone. Ooh. Mixed together, I'm getting more of that gold, so I'm going to go in with just the pink for a second. Wow. I'm getting a little bit of the gold, like I can kind of see it, but it's definitely not too dark from what I can see, and it's definitely not like a strict stripe of gold, which is what I was worried about. Okay, I do see a little bit of that gold right here on my forehead. Went a little ham with that, so I'm going back in with my translucent powder. It would probably be best for me, just with how pale I am, to maybe just go in with the gold one on my cheekbones and not on my forehead, because I can just see it a little bit in certain angles. In the camera, you probably can't tell. I'm gonna go back in with that pink, put some of that on my forehead instead. I'm going to first go in with this pink because it's just so up my alley, and then I think I'll top it off a little bit with this one. Instead of mixing them, I want to see what they look like. At least this one looks like on its own, so I'm going to go with this first and then add the more peachy one on top. And you guys know I love blush. I always get blush happy and apply too much, so I'm trying to chill and keep it a little more neutral, but I just love blush so much. I think especially on fair skin tone people like myself, it just really ties the look together. I look a little silly when I just wear bronzer and highlight, so I love blush to tie the look together and add a little more depth. I'm a blush girl. So I know I said I was going to go in with this peachier blush shade, but I like the way the look looks right now, especially because I'm wearing a warm tone shadow. I don't want it to be too warm toned and orangey and peachy. I don't always love a super peachy blush on me. I'm going to go against what I just said and I'm going to stop it here, but I am going to add a tiny bit more highlight back onto my cheekbones just because I want to be super glowy. That highlight is good. Okay, so that is my finished testing of the product on my face. Aside from the darker bronzer, which honestly, especially looking in the viewfinder, I think it's just too deep for my complexion. If I use a super light bronzer, I could definitely go in with that afterwards to deepen it up, but I loved the look of the other bronzer, loved the highlights mixed together. The gold is a little bit deep on my forehead, but I can totally get away with it here. It doesn't look too dark. Love the blush shade. It is pigmented. It's not too pigmented. I love a nice buildable blush that I can build up and don't have to be so worried about intense pigmentation. Didn't try the peach one. I think this palette is gorgeous. I think it's definitely worth the $45. I think that the bronzer on its own, super pretty. I would pay for that in a single. I love the blushes so far. The highlights, I do wish they were slightly different in shade, but the pigmentation and the way they look on the face is totally fine with me. It's just looking at it in the palette. It isn't something that I would go for without knowing what it looked like on my face, but because the whole palette, the rest of the shades intrigued me, I decided to try it out, and I'm really glad that I did. I really love that Sephora collection is stepping it up and releasing new products. I've heard their new skincare line is amazing. I've heard some of their new lip products are really good. So I would love to try out more from the Sephora collection brand. I love that it comes with a full-size mirror, like all around. I'm incredibly impressed with this. There is seriously nothing that I was disappointed in. Looking at this palette, I know that me personally, the darker bronzer wouldn't work for me, and these highlights aren't initially what I gravitate towards, but I think they did this very strategically and they did this very well, because this can work for really a wide range of skin tones. I would love to see this deeper bronzer on someone with really deep skin. Obviously, that is not me by any means, so I can't say how it would apply on deeper skin. I think the highlights are deep skin friendly, especially this one. I think the blushes are deep skin friendly. This lighter bronzer, probably not, but the darker bronzer, I'm pretty sure would be. I think they did a good job picking a palette that is inclusive for the majority of skin tones. I think if you have a medium skin tone, obviously you'll be fine. I'm so envious of people with medium skin tones. I feel like face palettes are catered towards them, and then if you're too light or too dark, you're kind of shit out of luck. I like that I'm so pale and I'm able to use this. Honest to God, I would give this palette, I want to say a 10 out of 10, but I feel like a 10 out of 10 would involve me really loving it and trying it for a longer period of time. I don't think I'm able to give a 10 out of 10 without trying it for a longer period of time. So for now, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I really think this palette is amazing. Normally, I don't buy products right away, and I definitely am a person that waits for reviews to see what other people think, but I had a gut feeling about this one, and I'm very happy I picked this up. That's all that I have for you guys. I definitely recommend this if you're gonna try it. If you're not, let me know your thoughts on this release. Let me know your thoughts on this video. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you aren't already, turn on the notifications if you haven't already. I have finally made a uploading schedule. I will be uploading every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern